Swinburne University of Technology.
Hi everyone, in this video we are going to look at the anatomy of a Shiny application. So we're here on Shiny on the rstudio.com in the gallery, and we've got this example which is looking at the k-means clustering. And so what it's giving us is a scatter plot and our widgets. We've got one to choose the x variable and one to choose the y variable of our scatter plot. And it's using the famous iris dataset. And then it's got this one down here, the cluster count, and we can see that we're getting these x's and color based on our cluster analysis. We can flick that to 4, and we'll see that it flicks over. We've now got 4 clusters. Go back to 3. And so it's color coding and giving us the centroid of our cluster. So let's go down and have a look at our code. Let's maybe make it a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so here is our UI, it's our user interface, and we can see that it starts off by giving us a title in our header panel. Then in our side panel, we've got 3 functions for our 3 widgets. So remember, select input gives us our drop down, and the drop down options are just the names from the iris dataset, and so that's for our x variable and for our y variable. So these bits are our labels. They've tried to compact their code a little bit by leaving off the label equals and the name equals bits. Probably good for us while we're learning to be putting those in there. So we've got select input for a drop down, select input for another drop down, and then numeric input. Our variable is going to be called clusters, the label is cluster count, the default is 3, and the minimum is 1 and the maximum is 9. And in our main panel we're just going to get our plot output. So in terms of setting up the user interface, fairly straightforward, not a lot of code, and all we're needing is to say put in my 3 widgets, have a title, put in my scatter plot. If we come over to our server, this very first line here, the palette, we can see has happened before Shiny server function call, and so that's just setting up the colors. We could just leave the default colors. They've put in a set here so that they know exactly what colors their 1 or 2 or 3 up to 9 clusters are. So you can see they've got 9 different colors selected there, so that they have the control over that. And that happens once. So once we get into the Shiny server bit, that's not going to keep having to be processed when we make changes. That's sitting outside. We then come down into our Shiny server function, and we're grabbing our data. So the data is the iris data. You can see twice in here they're using the reactive functions. We aren't quite as worried about the reactive functions for what we're going to be doing, because we're really focusing on pretty simple things for our Shiny applications that we're going to make. It is good coding practice, and certainly when you start doing something bigger and more complex, I would encourage you to do it. So the reactive statement really just means that when we make the changes on the widgets, so for this one the change in the widgets is the what our x column and y column are. That's the only bit that has to get rerun. We're not having to rerun lots of other stuff which we don't need to. So we've got a second reactive here with k-means. K-means is the function that does a k-means clustering, and so k-means is grabbing our selected data and then clustering it into however many clusters we selected using our clusters widget. Then down the bottom here we've got our plot. So our plot is just going to plot the data. The colors are going to be based on the clusters, and then the plotting character 20 is going to give us our nice filled in circles. And then our last one here, points. The points, our clusters object has got a the centers for our clusters. So all it's going to do is plot the centers, and it's just saying to plot them in nice big crosses. So that's how we get these big crosses here. So you can see that really it's not a huge amount of code that we've had to do. Certainly while you're learning and getting used to Shiny, and particularly if R functions were already new to you, I would really kind of work from templates, work from ones that you start off, you know what they're going to look like, and grab those and try and edit those rather than trying to write things from scratch to start with. And that will certainly make the learning of using these applications quite easy, a lot easier. For this unit, I'm really focused on you having exposure to Shiny and just familiarity with the real basics. So when we're not really getting into anything, this would be really the top end of level of complexity that we would even consider. And in terms of this code here, if it didn't quite make sense, don't get too worried about that. There's certainly some of these bits where we could have done it in a kind of code-wise less efficient way, so we could have had several lines of code, whereas this has all been done quite tightly. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. It covered most of the key functions and bits and pieces that we've been looking at in the notes.
This has been a Swinburne production.